you guys good to go? Good afternoon. I'm here with Mayor Turner. Mayor, thank you for joining us. Several folks are available to answer questions from both the city and the county, but I'll speak, then the mayor, Jeff Lynn, meteorologist, and I'll repeat my remarks in Spanish. We're here to talk about the weather, and weather impacts our region hasn't seen since 1989. To be clear, what we're about to see is not your typical annual hard freeze. This is a historic cold spell that has the potential of causing tremendous disruption to our region and of being potentially deadly. Models are predicting a variety of scenarios with mixes of snow, freezing rain, sleet. The outcomes, though, are just from bad to worse in their ranges, with the potential, very likely potential, of multiple days well below freezing. If we get enough frozen rain, that could weigh down power lines and tree limbs. If we get enough bad weather, that could mean our roads become impassable. Unfortunately, our neighbors upstate in the Dallas area have already shown us a preview of what we could see here. A devastating 133 car pileup in Fort Worth yesterday killed 6 people and injured many others. Our infrastructure here in Harris County, in this state really, we are not built for this. We in our region do hurricanes. We don't do Arctic blasts. And so we're gonna need your help to make sure that we recognize the limitations of our infrastructure and we prepare accordingly so that we don't have the deadly type of situations we saw in Fort Worth. I'll talk about this in a minute, but the bottom line is this. Wherever you are on Sunday evening, prepare to stay there until at least Tuesday morning. This is a serious situation. And so today's message is about urging everybody to take action right now to prepare. Our team has been working hard over the past week. On Sunday, we will formally activate our Emergency Operations Center here, but we are in touch with partners and we're working around the clock. We're in touch with law enforcement, the Red Cross, TxDOT, the City of Houston, of course, the mayors of the smaller cities, neighboring counties, etc. We will open warming sites throughout Harris County for people to use as a last resort, and we'll announce details of those in the coming day or so. Our homeless outreach teams are fully staffed at the county. They're proactively communicating with the homeless population. We'll be seeking people proactively in need of shelter, handing out blankets and jackets, and offering rides to our shelters. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all Harris County vaccination and testing sites will be closed. TxDOT expects to treat roads Friday and Saturday. They have to wait for the roads to dry. The Toll Road Authority, the Harris County Toll Road Authority, is also making precautions so that roads can be closed and treated. The precinct commissioners have been working on the county roads. We're doing all of this, but I want to make sure to stress that treating roads doesn't mean we can safely drive during the weather we're about to see. A treatment will lower a freezing point, but not low enough to where it needs to be to sustain the type of weather we might expect based on what the models are projecting. In terms of power, we're in touch with CenterPoint. They're closely monitoring any impacts and getting ready to respond, but we also have to recognize that this is a regional event. It's not just Harris County or neighboring counties. It's affecting a large swath of our state. So all of these workers and folks who are going to deal with the electricity and the water are going to be stretched thin. So we're prepared to do our end and thinking about the worst case scenario. But the time for the community to prepare is now. Time is running out to prepare, and we need you to prepare. Temperatures will drop precipitously Sunday night. Ahead of Sunday, make sure you have what you need. Phone chargers, food, water, blankets, flashlights, medicine. Bring your pets inside. Protect your plants. This is also a good time to locate the main shutoff valve for your home, for the water in case of pipes bursting. Stay informed. Monitor the local media. This is a fast-changing situation. No model is perfect, and all of us are watching multiple predictions. So stay tuned, and we will be sharing information as we get it. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that if the models are right, we're about to see an incident the likes of which we have not seen in 30 years. A very high probability of power outages, dangerous conditions outside, road closures. It's the same type of thing we would see in a Category 5 hurricane. It's a serious event, and we want to treat it the same way we would if a hurricane were to forecast and land here. The good thing is we have that muscle memory. We know what we would do if a hurricane, Category 5 hurricane, were coming our way. So this weather is proof we need to prepare year-round, and we need to do the same kinds of things we would do: food, water, monitor local weather, and just prepare to be wherever you're going to be on Sunday night. Prepare to be there for at least Monday, perhaps into Tuesday, and we're going to keep watching the weather. So thank you for doing your part. We need everybody's help with this. Mayor, thank you for your partnership.
Thank you, Judge, and we find ourselves standing together again, but instead of this being hurricane season, welcome to the Valentine's Day situation. So it's a fantastic way to show some love. But thank you for your leadership, and let me just ditto everything that you have said. For us, the critical period, of course, will be Sunday night through Tuesday. So listening to the National Weather Report, and I know Jeff Linder can further elaborate on it. On Monday, situation could be 14 degrees on Monday morning with a chill factor of 4, and then 7 degrees on Monday with a chill factor of 4, and on Tuesday morning 14 degrees with a chill factor with a wind chill factor of 2. That's cold, and it has been 30 years since we've had those type of temperatures. So we're going to be focusing on Sunday night all the way through Tuesday. Let me just start off by saying that for city employees, all employees working remotely under emergency telecommuting programs will continue their normal work schedule, working remotely. And then with respect to Tier 3, non-essential employees, and Tier 2 will not report to work on Monday, February the 15th, and Tuesday, February the 16th, but will plan to return to work on Wednesday, February the 17th. So the employees for the city of Houston that are scheduled to report will be Tier 1, but Tier 2 and Tier 3 will not report Monday and Tuesday. And then I'm asking people in the city of Houston as a whole to please stay off the roads, starting Sunday night through Tuesday. Unless it is a dire, supercritical situation, I'm going to ask you to stay off the road. And certainly I'm standing here with Chief Pena with the fire department. He can also further elaborate on the importance of you staying off the roads. And for non-emergency matters, for example, medical situations, to stay away from the hospitals for non-emergency type of situations. And then standing here with Director Carol Haddock from Public Works, and they will be supplementing the efforts of TxDOT on city roads with about 100 dump trucks. They'll start their pre-treating of roads and overpasses in the city of Houston on Saturday, and then they will do the heavy mix, icing, de-icing, and mixing once things get better, where it becomes more effective. But there'll be about 100 dump trucks out, and Director Haddock can speak more specifically to that if you have any questions with respect to public Works. But we'll be working in close collaboration with TxDOT. Let me just go over just a few things. I too want to focus on what Judge had to say. I call it the 4 Ps, people, pets, plants, and pipes. Okay? With respect to people, just like the county, we'll be supplementing the county's efforts, Judge, for people, individuals, especially homeless population that's on the street. We will start, in fact, we've already started reaching out to them through our homeless outreach team with HPD, and then work with the Homeless Coalition. We'll open up I call it a warming shelter center, specifically for our homeless population. That will open up on Sunday at 2 at the George R. Brown. We would use the George R. Brown for the homeless population, and Judge, to the extent homeless individuals, we certainly open that up, extend that as well to the county. With respect to our homeless, people who are on the streets, and Metro, Yellow Cab, and others will be assisting in reaching out to that homeless population to encourage them to come out of the weather, and that we're prepared to stand that up for 72 hours. Because this storm has been across the state, I know Red Cross is thin, and so that warming center at the George R. Brown will be staffed by City of Houston employees. And because we don't want them going back and forth during that 72 hours, we will be putting them up at one of the hotels, the staff downtown. But that center will be primarily for our homeless population. So we want to get them off the streets. Just like the county, the testing centers and the vaccination centers will be closed at the City of Houston Health Department on Monday and Tuesday. They will be closed. And for those who are scheduled for appointments on those days, you will be notified and you will be rescheduled, and we'll plan to do that as quickly as possible. Metro, of course, they will be assisting in us transporting people who are homeless off the streets to the George R. Brown. But in terms of their services, they will suspend all services beginning on Monday through Tuesday, or until conditions improve. And this includes bus, rail, and Metro Lift, HOV, and HOT lanes. So that's with regards to Metro. With regards to solid waste, the tentative plans, Monday's garbage and recycling collection will be delayed due to winter weather currently affecting the city. And then we will move very quickly to make up those days. Houston Police Department, it will become fully operational as of, I believe, Sunday, and they will continue until this event has passed. Judge spoke on Centerpoint. Let me just make just a couple of notes there. In order to kind of keep the system from being overloaded, sometimes there's a tendency to turn your temp up to 76, 78 degrees, just to be real warm. Going to ask that you kind of lower it a little bit, maybe down to 72 or so, to keep the system from being overloaded so that we all won't be impacted. So if you're in a home, and thank God for that, and if your heating is working, thank God for that. Instead of it being at 76, 78, lower it a little bit, down to 72, for example, for everyone, so we don't overload the system. And then if there are any down power lines, please stay away from down power lines. Do not touch those down power lines, and that will be very much appreciated. And then with respect to the airports, let me just say that they're focusing on the roads leading to and from the airports. Want to make sure that there's no icing or dangerous, treacherous situations on that end. They're focusing on the road, the runways, because they are treating them just like the roads on our streets, so that there's no problems with the planes coming in and out. And then the terminals. They did want me to make clear for people, please check in with your airlines before going to the airport. And specifically, that's because, for example, if there are delays, there is limited capacity at the airports to serve as shelters or holding places. In the past, your plane didn't show or was delayed, and you just stayed there at the airport. Bear in mind, we're having to deal with all of these conditions, factoring in COVID as well. So please check in with your airlines before going to the airport on Sunday evening, Monday, as well as Tuesday. And Judge, I think that covers the elements that I wanted to mention, but I cannot underscore the importance of people staying off the roads Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday. Please stay off the roads unless it's a dire emergency. And if by chance you need to be on the road, please drive very carefully and recognize it's even more treacherous at night when you cannot see. I agree, I'm a native Houstonian. I have never learned how to drive on ice. Never. Even my 3 years on the East Coast. One time was enough. I gave that up. Houstonians, people in the area, that's not what we do, okay? So bearing that in mind, please stay off the road. You'll be helping all of us in keeping everyone safe. And then lastly, what I would say, coming up in a family where we relied heavily on space heaters, and you really want to be warm, be very, very careful with the space heaters. Keep things away from that space heaters, close to curtains and other things, materials that are flammable. Be very careful with the space heaters. Be very careful, for example, with trying to use your stove as a way of warming yourself up. Carbon monoxide and things of that nature. Be very careful. Be very careful bringing in barbecue pits close to your home and using those things as heaters. I say all of those things because anecdotally, I'm familiar with all of them. So please, please be very careful. We don't need any unnecessary fires. And then above all, even with our utilizing the shelter, the George R. Brown, we will be exercising all of the COVID protocols, providing people with the masks, keeping people socially distanced. All of those things still apply. So thank you, Judge, very much.
All right, good afternoon. We're facing a kind of double header, if you will, in weather. One is the cold and the cold air that is going to come with this, and this is going to be extreme cold. This isn't your normal cold air outbreak down here. You know, as you heard the mayor and the judge say, we're talking lows in the low teens, wind chills down into the single digits. This is extreme for our area. And those precautions for the cold weather need to be maximum precautions. What you normally do out there when we're talking 25, 28 degrees, you need to go above and beyond that for this event to try to minimize property damage as much as you can. As far as the winter precipitation goes, we do expect winter precipitation in some form. It could be freezing rain, it could be sleet, it could even be snow, it could be all three on Monday, starting Sunday night going into Monday. I will underscore again, do not travel during that time. Stay where you are and plan to be at that location by darkfall Sunday night, all day Monday, and into Tuesday. It is imperative that you prepare over the next 48 hours to be stuck at that location and not on the roadways when we have winter precipitation. The other thing to underscore is this is going to be a long duration event. It is not going to be one day, it is not going to be one night, it is going to be multiple nights and multiple days. And we're going to have to take a look at a little bit later as we get into Monday and Tuesday what the rest of the week is looking like and how we warm up and how quickly we warm up and when we will melt. And I want to caution you on one other thing. On Monday, you may wake up and look outside and it looks wet. When we have freezing rain is not snow. It's clear. It's going to look wet. Do not go get in your car and think you can drive, because a lot of places are going to have ice on Monday morning. And so do not be fooled by the look of pavement, that it may look wet, and it's actually ice. And in this situation, unlike most winter weather events we deal with here, it is going to be more than the bridges and the overpasses. Potentially surface streets, sidewalks, and parking lots could all be impacted with the winter precipitation.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll repeat my remarks in Spanish, and then in addition to the folks from the city, Chief Christensen is here, Mark Sloan, our Emergency Department Coordinator, folks all available to answer questions. En español, estamos aquí para hablar acerca de los impactos del clima. Un clima, un frío que no hemos visto desde el año 1989. Esta no es una helada anual normal. Este clima frío histórico causará una disrupción tremenda a nuestra región y es posiblemente mortal si los modelos que estamos viendo llegan a pasar. Los modelos están prediciendo una variedad de posibilidades, una mezcla de nieve, lluvia helada y aguanieve. Las opciones van de mal a peor. Y estamos prediciendo varios días de clima bajo cero. Si cae suficiente lluvia helada, eso podría ser un peso en los árboles y las líneas eléctricas, derribando árboles, derribando líneas eléctricas, con implicaciones obviamente para la electricidad. Si el clima es suficientemente frío, también hay una alta posibilidad de que las carreteras se vuelvan intransitables. Desafortunadamente ya hemos visto los impactos de este tipo de clima. En el área de Dallas, en Fort Worth, vimos un choque en cadena devastador de más de 133 automóviles, al menos 6 muertes y muchos heridos, solamente el día de ayer. Debemos ser claros porque hay muchas personas que han vivido en áreas donde hay siempre clima frío, en áreas del norte. Nuestra infraestructura aquí en esta región, específicamente nuestras carreteras, no han sido construidas para sostener este tipo de clima. Nuestra infraestructura está preparada para los huracanes, pero no está diseñada para poder conducir cuando hayan estas temperaturas, ese tipo de nieve o lluvia helada sobre las carreteras. Lo más importante que quiero comunicar el día de hoy es, sea donde sea que esté, el domingo en la tarde, domingo en la noche, planee permanecer allí hasta el martes, empezando el domingo por la noche. Veremos temperaturas muy bajas, drásticamente bajo cero. Esta es una situación seria y quiero pedirle a todos el día de hoy que por favor tomen acción porque necesitamos que todos se preparen para el clima que viene a nuestra región. ¿Qué estamos haciendo nosotros aquí en el condado? El domingo activaremos formalmente nuestro centro de operación de emergencias, pero ya estamos todos aquí trabajando, hemos estado trabajando toda la semana. Estamos en contacto, obviamente, con el alcalde de Houston, los demás alcaldes, los líderes de los condados vecinos, las entidades de tránsito estatales y todos en comunicación. Vamos a abrir centros de calentamiento y albergues de frío a través del condado. Anunciaremos eso en el próximo día. Nuestros equipos que trabajan con las personas sin hogar están activadas, están preparadas a contactar a las personas sin hogar, a llevarlas a centros de calentamiento, asegurarse que tengan chaquetas, que tengan lo que necesiten para poder sobrevivir a este tipo de clima. Las sedes de vacunación y las sedes de pruebas del condado Harris estarán cerradas domingo, lunes y martes. En cuanto a las carreteras y las vías, TxDOT, el Departamento de Tránsito del Estado, estará tratando las calles, las carreteras viernes y sábado. Están esperando simplemente a que deje de llover para poder tratar las carreteras. Nuestra entidad de peajes también está trabajando en nuestras carreteras de peajes, los comisionados están trabajando en las carreteras del condado. Todo eso lo estamos haciendo, pero para ser claro, esto permitirá que de repente la temperatura de congelar se baje un poquito, algunos cuantos grados, pero aún con el trabajo que estamos haciendo no va a ser posible, no va a ser seguro el usar las vías como lo hacemos normalmente. Va a haber mucho hielo, muy resbaloso, y por eso estamos pidiendo a todos que se preparen para estar fuera de las vías domingo por la noche, todo el día del lunes, inclusive tal vez el martes, dependiendo del clima. Estamos en contacto también con Centerpoint en cuanto a la electricidad. Están monitoreando impactos, listos para ayudar si caigan estas vías. Pero hay que tener en cuenta que este clima frío está impactando no solo el condado Harris y los condados vecinos, sino la región entera, inclusive otros estados. Entonces, los mismos trabajadores, que de hecho les va a quedar difícil llegar a responder si se va la luz, están trabajando en toda la región. Entonces hay que prepararse para la posibilidad de no tener electricidad horas o inclusive un par de días. En cuanto a qué pueden hacer ustedes, todos los miembros de este condado Harris, el momento de prepararse es ya, hoy mismo. Se nos está acabando el tiempo para hacer las preparaciones. Empezando el final del domingo, domingo en la noche, van a caer esas temperaturas drásticamente. Entonces, antes del domingo, asegúrese que tenga cargadores, comida, agua, medicina, que sus mascotas estén dentro de casa. Todo lo que necesite para permanecer en casa varios días. Puede proteger sus plantas también. Ese es el momento de identificar dónde puede desactivar el agua si es que se explota una tubería en su casa. Importante también, manténgase al tanto de los medios de comunicación. Todo esto está cambiando, nosotros daremos información en cuanto la tengamos, pero tenemos que estar todos muy pendientes de los medios de comunicación. Si las predicciones salen y están correctas, vamos a ver un incidente que no hemos visto en 30 años. Hay una probabilidad muy alta de apagones, de condiciones peligrosas, de tener que cerrar las vías y las carreteras, el tipo de cosa que veríamos en un huracán de categoría 5. Este es un evento serio y lo estamos tratando como si fuera un huracán. Lo bueno es que tenemos esa experiencia, lo hemos hecho antes, sabemos qué hacer, entonces intentemos recordar eso, tener todas las provisiones, estar preparados y saber que va a ser un día de amor y la amistad, algo extraño, todos en casa, especialmente por la noche y también el lunes y entrado el martes. Seguiremos aquí trabajando para proteger a la comunidad y pedimos que todos por favor nos ayuden también. Those are my remarks. We will take questions now.
Okay, I got some questions from other outlets. Let me just pull them out. They just sent them to me. Give me 1 second. Okay. I think you already answered to some of them. I'm just going to read them. Okay, Houston Press is asking, how will the upcoming storm affect the city of Houston and Harris County vaccination efforts? Have any scheduled vaccination appointments been canceled or postponed at this time?
Harris County is closing its vaccination sites Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We knew this weather was coming, so we front-loaded the vaccinations for those days today and yesterday. We simply didn't make appointments for those days knowing that we were going to have weather. Mayor, I don't know if you have something to add.
And the city of Houston closed its vaccination and testing for Monday and Tuesday, and we also scaled back anyway on Monday and Tuesday. And I think there are only about 100 appointments that we had scheduled that will be rescheduled. So we have done that. I want to acknowledge, where's Chief Bunick? There he is, with OEM here today. Thank you.
Okay, KTRK had the same question, and he had a second question, which is related to vaccinations. They asking, do you have any advice for private, like Walmart, CVS hospitals, or hospitals in our region on what their vaccination plans are?
Look, we're asking everybody, these models can always change, right? There's a cone of uncertainty in some way. It's different. It's not like a hurricane where we see the range. We just see different models. But they tend to agree that we're going to have very, very low temperatures Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday. And if that pans out, we're not going to want to encourage people to go out, even to get a vaccine. It'll be a situation where driving itself would be life-threatening, like what we saw in Dallas. So right now, we're asking folks to prepare for not being able to go out safe. You have to go to the hospital because for an emergency. That's the kind of folks that we only want on the road, and we're making precautions to try to escort ambulances, try and make it safe for them. But it's very probable that our roads are going to be impassable if you want to avoid the type of situation we saw in Fort Worth.
I think you already answered to some of the other questions. I'm going to jump to ones that they're asking in Telemundo in Spanish. You mentioned a little bit of that, but I think it's good to kind of do that remark in Spanish. La pregunta es, ¿qué planes tienen las autoridades respecto a centros de calefacción? ¿Habrá distanciamiento social o límite en el número de personas adentro? La otra pregunta es, ¿qué plan tienen para pacientes quienes esperan recibir sus vacunas de COVID-19 en la ciudad y condado?
La ciudad obviamente está estableciendo este centro de calefacción en el centro de GRB. En el condado estamos trabajando en centros de calefacción más pequeños en las áreas del condado que les queda pues lejos llegar al GRB. Entonces estamos tomando las precauciones del COVID. Son esos albergues, son albergues de últimos recursos para personas sin hogar, para personas que realmente no tienen opción para calentarse, y tendremos más detalles en las próximas 24 horas. Pero es difícil, hay que aceptarlo, el tener que albergar gente y a la vez lidiar con este virus. Estaremos tomando todas las precauciones que ya pues hemos podido implementar en situaciones tipo huracán. En cuanto a las sedes de prueba y las sedes de vacunación específicamente, no vamos a vacunar a nadie, el condado Harris no va a vacunar a nadie domingo, lunes ni martes. Sabíamos que venía este clima, entonces lo que hemos hecho es, hemos agendado a las personas de domingo, lunes y martes para hoy y el día de ayer. No hemos tenido que cancelar citas y pues estamos planeando, viene otra ráfaga de frío, es posible que tengamos que volver a hacer esto entrada la próxima semana, pero ya veremos esa situación. En este momento, si los modelos y las proyecciones llegan a pasar, no será de ninguna manera seguro estar en las calles, sería absolutamente peligroso. Las únicas personas que querríamos en las carreteras de domingo a martes serían personas en ambulancia intentando llegar a un hospital.
Sabemos que, como lo dijo el alcalde y como lo dice usted, están pidiendo que las personas no viajen de lunes a martes. Hay 2 días laborales a pesar de que el lunes es festivo. ¿Existe alguna recomendación que le pudieran dar a los empleadores que tal vez a sus empleados les exigen que acudan a sus trabajos esos días?
Absolutamente. Miren, es un año histórico, ha sido un reto enorme ya con el COVID, pero algo positivo es que tenemos la experiencia de trabajar de casa, tener que cerrar las cosas. Entonces a los empleadores se les pide por la seguridad tanto de todos los trabajadores, de sí mismos, que sepan que nuestras carreteras no están diseñadas para sostener este tipo de clima. Entonces de domingo en la noche hasta al menos martes por la mañana, lo que proyectamos es que no sea posible conducir y les pedimos a ustedes que planeen eso. No se imaginan el tipo de llamadas que estoy recibiendo, cuando contacto a mis colegas en Dallas y me cuentan de las personas que conocían que han sido heridas en este choque en cadena, que han fallecido en este choque en cadena. No queremos ver algo así aquí. Estoy segura que no quieren los empleadores sentirse culpables por haber puesto a sus empleados en una situación así.
And another question that just is like departments, police departments and Houston Fire, are they increasing their staffing during these days?
Let me cover the previous remarks in English, and then I'll pass it on to the mayor. So the question was about employers and expecting. Obviously, Monday is a holiday, but what should people expect into Monday and into Tuesday morning? And it's a challenging time with this on top of a pandemic. But the silver lining is that we have that muscle memory as well, as to working from home, as to having to make adjustments when we can't go out. And so, I've been in communication with some of the leaders up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I can tell you just the sadness of knowing somebody who died, who was hurt in this multi-vehicle collision due to the frozen roads. I do ask that employers take that into account. If these projections come to pass, we're not going to be at a place where it'll be safe to drive, and nobody wants to be responsible for sending employees out in the streets in this kind of weather and then seeing a situation like what we saw in Dallas-Fort Worth. All of us have that warning now. And, we need to leave the roads open for ambulances. That's about it, and first responders. But the rest of us, please plan to not be out. If anything changes, if somehow this goes away, we'll let you know. But right now, we need to plan for things not being able to go on the roads through from Sunday night until Tuesday morning. And Mayor, I know they had a question about the police.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Judge, for elevating the importance of this press conference and the safety messages for the upcoming weather. I want to assure the community, the residents of Houston and the surrounding community, that the public safety agencies are coordinating and fully staffed and prepared to respond, from fire department to police department, public works. We're in communication with the Harris County Fire Marshal and Chief Christensen. So it's all hands on deck, and we are preparing our staffing models to ensure that we have appropriate personnel on duty. But the biggest impact that we're going to have to ensure that public safety is prepared and has the capacity to respond to true emergencies is if the community does their part as well to prevent the unnecessary responses. The mayor and the judge have mentioned it over and over. If you don't have to be on the roads, stay home. Stay home and leave the roads open for emergency personnel and those essential functions that have to worry. And if I may, Judge, since I have the podium here, I want to stress and drive home a point that the mayor and the judge have both mentioned. Besides, with the anticipated weather, the biggest public safety hazard, aside from frostbite and hypothermia for the vulnerable populations, is the hazard of fires and carbon monoxide poisoning as a result of the anticipated drop in the temperatures that we'll see in the next coming days. And those are as a result of improper uses of heating devices. I want to ensure that we communicate and we drive this point home. Do not use stoves or ovens to heat your homes. Do not use open flame grills inside the homes to heat your homes. Do the proper maintenance on your heating devices. And if you're going to use generators, make sure that those generators are at least 20 feet from any window or any opening into your home. Carbon monoxide is tasteless, it's odorless, and you can't see it, okay? But it's important to understand that it is an ever-present hazard as the temperatures drop. If you feel lightheaded, if you feel nauseous, if you feel tired as a result of being inside the home in an enclosed space with the heat on, call 911. Call 911 so we can evaluate. Open up a windows to have some circulation, but it's critically important that we are aware of those issues. If you're going to use your chimneys for the first time, make sure that the dampers are open, okay, and that the smoke is not migrating into your home or causing other issues inside the attic as the flue passes through those attics. Because again, proper maintenance is important, but if this is the first time that you're going to use those chimneys, be cautious that there are some hazards with the use of those facilities. Okay.
Chief Peña, ¿pudiera decir brevemente en español los peligros más amenazantes con respecto a este tiempo que nos va a llegar? Nos hablaba acerca de los incendios y de la intoxicación por monóxido de carbono.
Seguro, mire, el peligro más presente en tiempos cuando baja la temperatura, aparte de la hipotermia, son los peligros de intoxicación del carbón de monóxido, ¿sí? El monóxido de carbón, digo. Y eso es a causa de las personas que usan las estufas o los hornos para calentar sus hogares. Eso es muy peligroso. No usen las estufas, no usen los hornos, no usen las parrillas para calentar los hogares. Si es la primera vez que prenden la calefacción, tengan asegurados que tienen el mantenimiento apropiado. para esas calefacciones y que tengan un detector de monóxido que esté funcionando apropiadamente. Es muy importante que nosotros sepamos los síntomas de intoxicación de monóxido de carbón. Mire, dolor de cabeza, vómitos, náusea. Esos son síntomas primarios de una intoxicación de monóxido de carbón. Y si tienen esos síntomas, recomendamos que salgan afuera, que abran unas ventanas y que llamen al 911 para una evaluación. Sí.
I just want to make sure if Chief Christensen has anything to add.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mayor. To reiterate what Chief Pena was saying, we're definitely worried about fires in homes and in residences. I also want to remind those residents that maybe live in what we call multifamily, whether you live in a condo, apartment complexes, those things. We get very comfortable that our smoke detectors work, that our batteries are new, and we don't check those regularly. And I know we talk a lot about that, but we want to remember that this is a time we may see more fires in your residence or place that you're at. No, two ways out. Check your smoke detectors. If you have carbon monoxide detectors, check those batteries as well. But no, two ways out, and have a meeting place for your family. One of the things that we're most concerned about is if there is a fire, you go back in to rescue a family member and something were to happen. But just to reiterate what Chief Pena was saying, remember those heating devices, you're going to be bringing your pets in because we know pets are cold outside, so we're encouraging you to bring those in. If you're going to put heat lamps over those pets and maybe put blankets, make sure you're keeping that distance because those heat lamps can start fires. I know we have a lot of students and things that work with animals, and you want to remember that as well because when you bring those animals in close to the home and you use those heat lamps, we're worried about that as well. And just to talk about the chimneys and the heating appliances, remember, we're all home more now, and so we tend to have more stuff probably around the house than we did before, more school papers, more things like that. Think about where you're setting those heaters up in your home, those space heaters and things like that, so that we have 3 feet around those things and that we have enough space so that we don't have the fires that occur when you go to bed at night. Try to remember to have heat detectors and heaters that have tip over protection. If they were to fall over, would they cut off? And want to reiterate, I know it's cold at night. Grab some extra blankets, but please unplug those space heaters if you can, because we want to make sure at night you're safe and you wake up safe in the morning with your family. Thank you.
Sure. I wanted to mention the issue that we're going to see, and I anticipate we'll see, is the freezing of the pipes. Some of the recommendations that we have are make sure you know where the main shutoff is for your main water supply into your homes, okay? We're going to see drops in temperature below freezing. The water inside those pipes are going to freeze, and you won't notice it until it starts to thaw out. Make sure you know where the main water shutoff are. But some of the precautions there is ensure that the pipes are insulated properly and wrapped properly. The cabinets under your sink, if you can leave the cabinets open so the warm air can circulate around those pipes, that would help to ensure that they don't freeze over. And the other recommendation is if you can leave the water at a slow drip, right? Open at a slow drip. That way the water keeps flowing, and there's less of a chance of those pipes freezing over and then bursting as it starts thawing out. Thank you.